For more than a century, one truth about abundance has remained hidden in plain sight. As millions struggle daily against the tide of scarcity, few realize that they are ignoring the most fundamental law of the universe. In 1910, a man named Wallace D. Wattles published a revolutionary manuscript titled The Science of Getting Rich. His words, although simple, contained a force capable of awakening something deep in human consciousness. "There is a science of getting rich," he wrote, "and it is an exact science. Like algebra or arithmetic, there are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. And when these laws are learned and obeyed by any man or woman, that person will become rich with mathematical certainty." This statement, so direct and assertive, challenged everything society believed about wealth and prosperity. In Victorian times, the dominant idea was that wealth came from birth, luck, or hard, painful work. Wattles, however, proposed something extraordinary. Financial abundance could be obtained through precise and universal laws, accessible to anyone willing to apply them consistently. What makes this revelation even more fascinating is that, a century later, modern science has begun to confirm many of the principles Wattles described in simple, spiritual language. From quantum physics to neuroscience, we discover that reality is much more malleable and responsive to human thought than we ever imagined. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract opportunity and prosperity seemingly effortlessly, while others perpetually struggle? Trapped in cycles of scarcity? Observe carefully. The difference is rarely in external circumstances. People are born into similar conditions and follow radically different paths. The real difference, as Wattles discovered, is invisible to the eye. It lies in mental patterns and the conscious relationship with the laws that govern abundance. Most of us have been conditioned from an early age to see the world through the lens of scarcity. There's not enough to go around. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard to earn every penny. These are not absolute truths. They are mental programming that, repeated enough, become self-fulfilling prophecies that shape our experience of economic reality. Wattles' legacy invites us to a transformative question. What if abundance were the natural state of the universe? Look at nature. A single seed produces thousands of seeds. Galaxies contain billions of stars. Oceans are home to countless forms of life. The universe operates through continuous expansion, not contraction. Scarcity is a human invention, a distorted reflection of the abundant reality that surrounds us. The first step to awakening to abundance is not in accumulating more, but in deeply realizing that you exist in a universe where prosperity is the natural law. Your birthright is not just to survive, but to thrive on all levels: material, emotional, and spiritual. This understanding is not a trivial detail. It is the foundation upon which every conscious manifestation of wealth is built. At the heart of the science revealed by Wattles is a profound concept he called original substance, the mental and energetic raw material from which everything in the universe is formed. There is a thinking matter, he wrote, of which all things are made, and which, in its original state, pervades, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. This concept, which sounded mystical in 1910, finds surprising echoes in the discoveries of modern quantum physics about the fundamental nature of reality. The first universal law of this science is the law of substance. Everything we experience, every physical object, every circumstance, every financial reality emerges from the same invisible source. There is no real separation between you and the abundance you want to experience. Wealth is not something distant that you need to seek beyond yourself. It is an expression of the same substance that constitutes your being. This understanding dissolves the illusion of separation that causes so much suffering. In the human relationship with prosperity, quantum physicists have discovered that at the subatomic level, matter is not solid, but exists as fields of possibilities that respond to conscious observation. What appears solid is actually 99.9999% empty space. This scientific reality validates what Wattles intuited a century ago. The material world is more malleable than it appears, and our consciousness influences the way this reality manifests in our experience. The second fundamental law is the law of thought. Thought is the only force that can act on this original substance and transform it into concrete manifestations. The thought of this substance produces the object which is imagined by the thought, stated Wattles. Your thinking is not a mere passive response to the world. It is an active creative force that imprints patterns on original substance, which then responds by reproducing those patterns in its tangible reality. The power of this law becomes evident when you observe how different people create radically different outcomes in the same circumstances. Faced with an identical challenge, one person sees an opportunity while another sees an obstacle. The difference is not in the external situation, but in the quality and direction of the thought that each one applies. The mind that aligns with abundance naturally perceives and attracts experiences of prosperity. The third fundamental law is the law of gratitude, the emotional alignment that creates harmony between you and the natural flow of abundance. Gratitude is not just a positive emotional response. It is an active force that expands your ability to receive. Gratitude connects your mind to universal intelligence, keeping you in close harmony with creative thinking, taught Wattles, and it stops you from falling into competitive thinking. When you cultivate gratitude for what you already have, you create a vibrational resonance with abundance. Paradoxically, feeling grateful for what you have, as if it were already enough, is precisely what allows more to flow into your experience. Scarcity, instead, arises from ingratitude, from the never-enough mentality. To understand the power of these laws, consider water in its three states: solid, liquid, and gas. Although they appear to be completely different manifestations, they are expressions of the same substance reacting to different conditions. In a similar way, poverty and wealth are not separate realities, but different expressions of the same original substance, responding to different patterns of thought, emotion, and action. These laws operate with mathematical precision, regardless of beliefs or opinions. Just as the law of gravity works whether you believe in it or not, the laws of abundance are constantly shaping your financial reality, even if unconsciously. True power comes from the conscious and deliberate application of these laws in your daily life. The inevitable question arises: if these universal laws are always operating, and abundance is the natural state of the universe, why do so many people remain trapped in scarcity? The answer lies in the invisible blockages that interrupt the natural flow of prosperity. These are not external obstacles, but internal programming that filters our perception and shapes our decisions. Without us realizing it, the most powerful of these blocks is unconscious scarcity programming. From childhood, we absorb messages about the limitations of available resources. We watch adults who are anxious about money. We hear phrases like "this costs us a lot" or "we're not flush with cash." And we witness family conflicts over finances. These formative experiences create deep impressions that lodge in the subconscious and continue to drive our financial decisions decades later. The subconscious does not distinguish between truth and falsehood. It only accepts repeated impressions as reality. A child who constantly hears money doesn't grow on trees develops internal programming that wealth is difficult to obtain and always limited. This belief, operating below the threshold of consciousness, systematically sabotages opportunities for prosperity, even when the conscious mind desires abundance. The second crucial blockage is the paradox of fear of failure and success. Fear of failure manifests itself as hesitation, procrastination, and avoidance of necessary risks. What if I lose everything? What if people judge me? These worries keep millions trapped in situations of mediocre comfort, never risking the flight that could take them to true prosperity. Equally debilitating, although less recognized, is the fear of success. Many unconsciously fear the responsibilities, expectations, and identity changes that accompany true abundance. Will I be a different person? Will my relationships change? Will I be able to manage all of this? This subterranean fear often sabotages opportunities precisely when they are about to fully materialize. The third block is limiting beliefs about money and worthiness. One of the most destructive is the subconscious association between wealth and immorality, crystallized in the expression "money is the root of all evil." This distortion creates an internal conflict. We desire prosperity, while fearing that it will make us less ethical or spiritual people. Another common limiting belief is the sense of unworthiness. Who am I to have so much when others have so little? This false humility is not a virtue, but a blockage to the natural flow of life. Just as a plant doesn't feel guilty for growing toward the sun, you don't need to apologize for expanding toward the abundance that is your birthright. Wallace D. Wattles offers a powerful tool to begin dissolving these blocks, the practice of inner certainty. You must get rid of the last doubt, he insisted. This certainty is not mere superficial positive thinking, but a deep alignment with the truth that abundance is your natural state and legitimate right. An effective technique for developing this inner certainty is regular, vivid visualization not just of specific material goals, but of the feeling of abundance flowing freely through your life. By experiencing this sensation regularly, you begin to reprogram your subconscious, creating new neural patterns that align your perception with the infinite possibilities that have always been available but remain invisible through the filter of scarcity. At the heart of Wattles' science of abundance is a precise method of mental reprogramming, a three-step process that fundamentally transforms your relationship with prosperity. This method is not a superficial manifestation technique, but a deep reconnection with the natural laws of creation. The first step is clear and detailed visualization. Form a clear, defined mental picture of what you want, instructed Wattles. This visualization goes beyond a vague desire for more money or a better life. It's about generating an image so vivid and specific that it activates all the senses and provokes a genuine emotional response. When you can see, feel, hear, and internally experience your vision with crystal clarity, you establish a vibrational pattern that the original substance recognizes and responds to. The quality of this visualization is crucial. It's not just about what you want to have, but who you will become through this experience. A superficial visualization focused only on material possessions lacks the necessary transformative power. Effective visualization includes how you will feel, how you will interact with others, what new possibilities will open up, and how you will contribute in expanded ways. The second step is the deliberate cultivation of anticipatory gratitude. Be as grateful for what you want as if you had already received it, taught Wattles. This is one of the most profound and often misunderstood aspects of his methodology. Anticipatory gratitude is not pretense. It is a recognition of the nonlinear nature of time and the creative dimension. When you feel genuine gratitude for something, before its physical manifestation, you align yourself with the reality where it already exists in potential form. This practice creates a powerful coherence between the conscious and subconscious mind. The brain does not clearly distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and physical events. Both generate similar neurological and emotional responses. By consistently generating the emotional state of having received what you want, you literally train your nervous system to recognize and accept this new pattern as your natural reality. The third step of the Wattles method, often overlooked by modern interpretations, is consistent action in the right way. You must act now, he insisted. This action is not a frantic activity based on fear and scarcity, but a confident and decisive movement aligned with your vision. Every action taken from an internal state of abundance and certainty carries a different vibratory quality than that motivated by anxiety or despair. What sets the Wattles method apart from other approaches is its emphasis on action as an essential component of manifestation. Many modern interpretations of the law of attraction suggest that thinking and feeling are sufficient, relegating action to a secondary role. Wattles understood that thought, feeling, and action form an inseparable triad. Each element amplifies and complements the others. Thinking a certain way, the key phrase Wattles used, describes a specific state of mind that transcends ordinary thinking. It's not just about having occasional positive thoughts, but about cultivating a coherent mental field completely aligned with abundance. This state of mind integrates intellect and intuition, logic and creative imagination, directive focus, and receptive openness. To apply this method in daily practice, set aside specific moments for immersive visualization. In the morning, before bed, or during intentional pauses. Close your eyes and vividly project yourself into the reality you want to create. Feel the emotions, observe the details, fully inhabit this experience. Then deliberately generate deep gratitude for this reality as if it were already manifest. From this state of internal alignment, identify the next most inspired action, one that arises not from fear or obligation, but from natural clarity and enthusiasm. This action will have a different quality, it will flow with less effort and produce surprisingly favorable results, often in unexpected ways. This is the Wattles method in its fullest expression: vivid visualization, anticipatory gratitude, and inspired action, working together as a cohesive system to completely reprogram your relationship with abundance. Most people associate creating wealth with hard work and sacrifice. This is precisely the conception that Wallace D. Wattles challenged when he introduced the revolutionary concept of acting in a certain way. This approach does not deny the need for action, but fundamentally transforms its quality and effectiveness. There is a certain way to do things, wrote Wattles, and if you do things that way, you will become rich with mathematical certainty. This is not a vague promise, but a statement based on careful observation of the principles that separate those who prosper from those who merely work. The crucial distinction is between efficient action and effective action. Efficient action focuses on getting more things done faster, with fewer resources, the mindset of modern productivity. Effective action, on the other hand, focuses on doing the right things the right way, for the right reason. An hour of effective action often produces results greater than weeks of mere hard work. The first pillar of scientific action is to do more than you are paid to do. Give each person more in use value than you receive in monetary value, advised Wattles. This principle transcends ordinary transactional exchange and establishes a dynamic of abundance. When you consistently deliver more value than you receive in immediate payment, you create an energetic vacuum that the universe naturally fills with expanded opportunities. The scarcity mindset seeks to maximize return by minimizing effort. How much can I get for the least I can give? The abundance mindset flips this equation. How much value can I create, regardless of immediate reward? The first perpetuates cycles of limitation. The second opens portals to exponential possibilities. The second pillar is constant innovation. Do each thing as efficiently as possible, instructed Wattles. This doesn't simply mean working faster, but continually asking, is there a better way to do this? This persistent and creative curiosity keeps you at the forefront of evolution in your field, resisting the stagnation that inevitably leads to obsolescence. Thomas, a freelance graphic designer, applied this principle by constantly questioning his processes. While other professionals followed traditional methods, he experimented with new technologies and approaches. Within a year, his productivity tripled while the quality of his work increased dramatically. Clients began seeking him out specifically for his innovative approach, allowing him to charge premium fees while working fewer hours. The third pillar is the genuine contribution of value. Wattles insisted that true prosperity comes from adding real value to the lives of others. This principle challenges the cynical notion that financial success requires manipulation or exploitation. Sustainable wealth flows from what genuinely enriches others, products that solve real problems, services that truly improve lives, ideas that effectively inspire or educate. Maria applied this principle in her small cafe. Instead of focusing solely on profit, he focused obsessively on creating an experience that truly enriched his customers' day. The welcoming atmosphere, carefully selected products, and attentive service have transformed their establishment into a community oasis. While other cafes struggled to survive, hers thrived, not through marketing strategies, but through genuine value creation that naturally attracted loyal customers. The fourth pillar is continuous expansion. You have to keep growing. Wattles emphasized, abundance is not a final destination, but a process of constant flourishing. The scarcity-oriented mind seeks a level of enoughness, and then stops growing. The abundance mindset recognizes that stagnation is regression, that nature always expands into higher expressions. This expansion means not just accumulating more, but becoming more, developing expanded capabilities, expanded consciousness, and heightened contribution. When you commit to continued growth, not just of your possessions, but of your own awareness and capabilities, you naturally attract circumstances and resources that support that expansion. Lasting success comes not just from what we do, but from the awareness with which we do it. Action motivated by fear, greed, or desperate need carries an energetic quality that limits its results, regardless of the effort applied. Action born of abundance, purpose, and genuine contribution carries a completely different vibrational signature, one that naturally attracts favorable circumstances that often appear as luck or synchronicity to outside observers. Revolutionary discoveries in quantum physics in the 20th century began to scientifically validate what Wattles intuited through observation and insight. The reality that we perceive as solid and separate is, at a fundamental level, a unified field of energy and information in constant flux. This field responds and reorganizes itself according to conscious observation, a discovery that resonates deeply with Wattles' understanding of the original thinking substance. What we call prosperity is not a static condition or an accumulation of physical objects, but a dynamic expression of alignment with this unified field. Wealth is not something we create out of thin air, but an infinite flow that we connect to, or disconnect from, through specific patterns of thought, emotion, and action. This quantum perspective on prosperity explains why purely mechanical approaches to wealth creation often fail. When we treat abundance as a simple physical process, following all the correct external rules while maintaining an internal field of fear, doubt, or scarcity, we create a fundamental dissonance that sabotages our efforts. The deep understanding that emerges is that we don't create as much wealth as we allow it. Just as you do not create electricity by turning on a switch, but simply allow the current that already exists to flow through the circuit, you do not create abundance out of thin air, but rather remove the resistances and blockages that impede its natural flow in your experience. The triad of financial mastery, the integrated system revealed by Wattles, consists of mental, emotional, and physical alignment. Each dimension amplifies and complements the others, creating a harmonious resonance with the unified field of prosperity. Mental alignment begins with the conscious recognition of abundance as a natural state of the universe. This is not mere wishful thinking, but a fundamental shift in perception, seeing beyond appearances of scarcity to recognize the underlying infinite flow. When your mind consistently recognizes and affirms the truth of abundance, it establishes a coherent field that naturally attracts corresponding expressions of prosperity. Emotional alignment manifests through emotional states that resonate with prosperity, gratitude, joy, enthusiasm, peace, and deep certainty. Emotions are not just passive responses, but powerful creative forces that directly influence the quantum field. Emotional states of scarcity such as fear, anxiety, envy, and resentment create vibrational patterns that repel the very experiences we wish to attract. The daily practice of radical gratitude, feeling genuine gratitude not just for what you already have, but for what is on the way, dramatically alters your emotional field. This anticipated gratitude is not pretension, but recognition of the nonlinear nature of time in the quantum field, where future potentialities already exist as patterns of energy and information that can be accessed emotionally before their full manifestation. Physical alignment expresses itself through inspired, value-oriented action. This is not action based on rigid plans or prescribed formulas, but fluid movement that arises organically from mental and emotional alignment. When your mind recognizes abundance and your emotions resonate with gratitude and certainty, your actions naturally take on a different quality. They become more intuitive, efficient, synchronized, and pleasurable. To harmonize these three levels, Wattles prescribed daily practices rarely mentioned in modern interpretations of his work. The first is the period of silent contemplation, not mere meditation, but conscious immersion in the unified field, temporarily dissolving the boundaries of separate identity to directly experience essential connectivity with all abundance. The second practice is regular verbal affirmation, combined with sensory visualization. Words spoken with conviction carry vibrational power, especially when accompanied by vivid images. The phrase "I am infinite abundance" expressing itself in perfect form, spoken with deep conviction while visualizing the limitless flow moving through you into the world, creates a powerful energetic signature in the quantum field. The third practice is conscious physical movement. Wattles recognized that the body is not separate from the mind, it is the materialized mind. Walking, breathing, or moving with full awareness of infinite abundance integrates this knowledge at a cellular level, transcending mere intellectual understanding. These practices are not superstitious rituals, but precise technologies to create resonance with the unified field of prosperity. When applied consistently, they generate an internal coherence that naturally aligns with expanded expressions of abundance in all dimensions of life. True mastery of the science of abundance culminates not in having more or doing more, but in a profound transformation of identity, in becoming a living expression of prosperity. This change transcends the domain of techniques, strategies, or even principles, reaching the core of who you fundamentally are. To become rich, wrote Wattles, you must become the kind of person who acts in ways that generate wealth. This seemingly simple statement contains a profound truth. Sustainable abundance comes not primarily from what you do, but from who you become. Right actions flow naturally from an identity aligned with prosperity. Most people approach wealth from the outside in trying to change external circumstances while maintaining the same internal self-image. This effort rarely produces lasting results. You can win the lottery and lose everything in 5 years. If your inner identity remains misaligned with prosperity, conversely, you can lose everything materially and recover quickly. If your core identity is aligned with abundance, transformation begins by recognizing that your current identity was constructed through stories, interpretations, and often unconscious decisions. You were not born with beliefs about your relationship with prosperity. These were acquired through experiences, observations, and messages absorbed throughout your life. What was built can be rebuilt through conscious choice, an often overlooked aspect of Wattles' work is his emphasis on contribution and service as essential elements of true prosperity. Contrary to materialistic interpretations of the law of attraction, Wattles understood that sustainable abundance only flows when we are genuinely committed to the well-being of others. This is the transformative paradox. Thriving identity does not develop through a focus on achieving more for oneself, but through expanding one's ability to offer more to others. When you transition from "what can I get" to "how can I contribute," an internal alchemy occurs that naturally aligns your consciousness with the abundant flow of the universe. The key to this transformation is developing what we might call a channel mindset rather than a repository mindset. The scarcity-oriented mind sees abundance as a limited resource to be accumulated and protected, a reservoir that can be emptied. The prosperous mind recognizes itself as a channel through which infinite abundance constantly flows. The more it flows through you to others, the more the channel expands. Consider the story of Eduardo, a financial advisor who spent years trying to accumulate wealth through aggressive strategies, focused on maximizing personal gains. Despite periods of success, he experienced constant cycles of gain and loss, always feeling like he never had enough. The transformation began when he fundamentally redefined his professional identity, from someone who extracts value for himself to someone who creates prosperity for others. This change was not just philosophical, it completely reorganized his practical approach. Instead of selecting clients based on how much he could earn from them, he began choosing those he could genuinely help. Instead of focusing on short-term commissions, it focused on creating sustainable value. Paradoxically, as his focus shifted from getting to giving, his own financial prosperity expanded exponentially. Clients began to seek him out, recommend him, and trust him with greater resources, not because he sought that, but because his new identity naturally attracted those experiences. 2. Cement this new thriving identity in your own life. Start by consciously examining your daily decisions. Each choice, how you spend your time, energy, and resources. either reinforces the old scarcity-based identity or cultivates the new abundance-based identity. Consistently ask yourself, would the person I am becoming make this choice? How would someone who embodies prosperity act in this situation? Your relationships play a crucial role in this transformation. Consciously cultivating connections with people who exemplify prosperity, not just financially, but in mindset and spirit, dramatically accelerates your own evolution. Simultaneously, it may be necessary to recalibrate relationships that unconsciously reinforce scarcity-based identities. The language you use, both internally and in external expression, literally carves out your new identity. Eliminate phrases like "I can't afford this" or "this is too expensive," and replace them with empowering questions like "How can I create value that justifies receiving this?" or "What opportunities am I missing?" This identity transformation is not an event, but an ongoing process of recognition, choice, and practice. In each moment, you have the opportunity to align more fully with your essential nature as a being of infinite abundance. As Wattles eloquently stated, the desire for wealth is simply the capacity for life. Seeking fuller expression, the centuries-old science revealed by Wallace D. Wattles offers much more than simple techniques for material manifestation. It presents a revolutionary understanding of the very nature of reality and your place within it. The principles we explore together are not mere theories, but precise laws, as reliable as gravity or electromagnetism, just waiting to be consciously applied in your life. Imagine, for a moment, what it would be like to live completely aligned with these universal laws. Visualize yourself moving through the world not as someone struggling to get enough, but as a natural expression of infinite abundance, your decisions flowing from inner certainty, your actions inspired by authentic purpose, every aspect of your life reflecting the prosperity that is your true nature. This vision is not an unattainable fantasy, but your birthright. The universe, in its unlimited generosity, does not keep its treasures from those who are ready to receive them. The only question is, are you ready to let go of the patterns of scarcity that have limited your experience thus far? The moment of decision is before you now. You can continue living by the old programming, resulting in the same limited experiences. Or you can consciously choose to align with the laws of abundance and open yourself to exponentially expanded possibilities. This choice is not trivial. It is the difference between a life of constant struggle and one of flourishing expression. It's not just about having more, but becoming more aware, more expansive, more aligned with your unlimited potential. I invite you to immediately implement the first step of the Wattles method. Set aside 5 minutes today for immersive viewing. Close your eyes and see with crystal clarity a specific aspect of the prosperity you want to manifest. Feel the emotions, observe the details, fully inhabit this reality. Then cultivate genuine gratitude for this manifestation, as if it were already present in your experience. Practice this daily for just a week and notice the subtle changes in your perception, the opportunities that arise, the quality of your decisions. This simple practice, applied consistently, begins a process of transformation that gradually affects every aspect of your financial reality. Remember Wattles' profound words that capture the greater purpose of all material prosperity. You cannot serve God and man without material resources, and the only way to obtain resources is to become rich. Therefore, it is the most praiseworthy thing to become rich. This perspective elevates the pursuit of prosperity from mere material interest to a path of spiritual expression and expanded service. The science of abundance is not just about creating personal wealth, but about reclaiming your creative power as a conscious co-creator of your reality. By making this decision now, you not only transform your own circumstances, but contribute to the elevation of collective consciousness, demonstrating through your living example that abundance is the natural right and divine inheritance of all humanity. The infinite universe awaits your answer. What do you choose now?